Hi everyone. So I'm going to go over Google Forms with you. So I loaded a blank form. If you go to forms.google.com, it'll give you the option to load a blank form. You can choose from a template, or you can choose a previously created form. So this is what a blank form will look like. And just to go through the outline, or kind of like an overview of what everything is in here. So this is obviously your Google Forms home. So you can click this and it'll bring you back to forms.google.com. This is the title of the form. You can move it to a folder. You can star it in your drive. This is telling you that all changes are currently saved, so it's up to date. You'll notice when you're editing it, it'll change to saving. Over here, these are your questions. So this is the question tab. These are all the questions that I'm going to add. And then under responses, so once you actually make the form go live and you submit it for people, you'll see the responses here. These are the add-ons that you currently have installed. So you can add those to the form if you want. You can customize the theme. So you'll see that's like a purple right now. That's the default. You can change the color, and you can even add like a header image. This is a preview, so you can see what the form's going to look like once you send it to people. Here are your settings. We're going to get into this in just a little bit. You can send it. And then under here, there's a more button. You can undo something. You can make a copy of the form. You can move the form to trash, get a pre-filled link, print. You can add collaborators. If you know how to script with AppScript, you can kind of code different things in there. You can get add-ons here from the G Suite Marketplace for Google Forms, and then you can set preferences. So over here is my untitled form, so I'm just going to title this sample. In the form description, I'm going to say this is a sample form. Okay. And now, questions, I can title this test, and you'll notice I can make this whatever I want. So if I want to, this is currently a multiple choice question. So if I want to make this option 1, and then you'll notice here it gives you an option to add all these numbers. So I'm going to click add all, and it'll kind of do this with different questions. So I'll show you how that works with like a true or false in just a second. You can even add images next to those questions if you want, or you can remove those not the question, but for the answer, and you can remove the answers as well. You can also add an other if you want to add that. Over here is a duplicate this question. So if I click this button, it will duplicate this exact thing and add it below. I can delete it. You can also add, make this required. Now, you'll probably want to do this for most of your things depending on what your form is, but if you check this, it will become required, so they will not be able to submit the form without answering the question. Okay? And under here, you can add a description. You can go to a section based on an answer, or you can shuffle the option order. Okay? Now I can add various types of questions. So I can do a short answer, and you'll see short answer, it's just the question. You can add an image to it, and you can add text. You can also make it a paragraph. So same thing, you just get more typing space. We did multiple choice. Under checkboxes, very similar to multiple choice, but they can check more than one. Now you'll notice from you can also add other, once you start adding these are squares and the multiple choice are circles. So the square is telling you that they can select multiple options from that, okay? So those are what the two differences are. You can do a drop-down list. So right now it comes up with the options, and this will become a drop-down once you preview it. You can have them upload a file. Okay, so it just says they'll be required to sign into Google, and they can upload something. You can do a linear scale. You can do a multiple choice grid, a checkbox grid. You can have them select the date, and you can also have them select time. Okay. Now this one's pretty cool, so I just want to show you if I do like a true or false question, like if this was a quiz, it would give you a suggestion for false, and you can add that there. Okay, so depending on what you type, it will start to add questions that it thinks you might want to add. All right. Now to add another question to this, you can either you can add a new question, and I'll show you how that works in a second. You can import a question from a different form. You can add a title and a description. So this is like your main title. You can add a title for like a section. You can add an image to the form in the middle. You can add a video. or you can break it into sections. So if you want it to be multiple sections long, you can also do that. So when you click add a question, it's going to do a default of multiple choice, and it's going to come up with those options again. So again, if you do want to import it from an old, like a different form, you can do that here. So the next thing we're going to go over is just the settings. So you have 3 tabs at the top. You have general, presentation, and quizzes. Quizzes I'm going to do in a separate video just so you can see that. But for collect email addresses, this is under the general tab. If you don't do collect email addresses, unless you have a question that asks for their name, you'll have no idea who submitted what. So if you do want to know who submitted what, you'll have to have that collect email addresses. And then you can also turn on response receipts, which is, if you look at this, it says respondents receive a copy of their responses after. You can require a sign-in. So now if you can also limit to 1 response. So if you want to limit it to 1 response, you can check this box and they'll be required to sign in with Google. If you want to restrict it to your domain, you would obviously click that box. Now under here it says respondents can, and then they can edit after submitting the form. So if you don't want them to edit after they submit, make sure this is not checked. And you can also have them see a summary chart of different responses. So unless you want them to see a summary of everything, make sure this is not checked either. Under presentation, it'll show a progress bar at the bottom. If you have this checked, you can also shuffle the question order, and you can also show link to submit another response. And then you can also do a confirmation message. Over here is your quizzes, and again, I'll do this in a separate video. Just to quickly see, just to show you these under preview, this is what the form would look like when it is live. And then you can click this little pencil to go back to edit. Over here, you can change the themes. You can add a header image if you want. You can change the color. So if you want to make it like blue, you'll see it changes to blue. And you can also change the background to color as well. Okay. You can also change the font to anything you want. Okay. Or to any of those 4, I guess you can change it to anything you want. And then, again, we went over this already. And then once you go to send, you'll have the option to you can automatically collect email respondents' email addresses with this box. You can send it via mail, via link, or via an embed. And then here's your email. You can do a subject and then a message, and you can say include the form in a message. If you don't, it will just keep the link to it. You can add collaborators here, and you can also share it to Facebook or Twitter. Okay, so that's a very quick overview of Google Forms. I'll do a separate one on quizzes and how that works. But I hope you find this helpful, and have a great rest of your day.